You're listening to Conservation Connection.
Presented by Last Chance Endeavors.
I'm Chance.
I'm Sarah Catherine.
We're a husband and wife team running a wildlife education nonprofit focused on connecting students to their environment.
Each week, here on Conservation Connection, we do just that by introducing you to the groundbreaking science and conservation work that's happening every day across the globe.
We talk to professionals working to protect our planet and ask them about their career,
their current projects,
their wild and crazy stories from the field,
and everything in between.
This episode is a collaboration with the Sun Valley Forum in Sun Valley, Idaho, and was made possible through a generous donation by the Nancy P. and Richard K. Robbins Family Foundation.
The Sun Valley Forum is an intergenerational meeting of forward-thinking professionals that come from a diverse range of disciplines.
These experts are on the cutting edge of what's happening in the fight for our future, and they've all come together at the Sun Valley Forum to share ideas and collaborate on solutions for a greener tomorrow.
Let's get to the show.
Alrighty, guys. We are here for another episode of Conservation Connection. We are here in Sun Valley, Idaho at the Sun Valley Forum. And this is a really cool episode because this is the first one you're going to hear of a bunch of really amazing interviews that we managed to nab while we were here in Idaho. We're very, very excited and honored to be sitting down with Aimee Christensen. She is the founder and CEO of Christensen Global, and she's the founder of the Sun Valley Forum that we've been at for the past few days.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks, you guys. So great to be here. I'm so happy to have you in my home.
Yes, we are so happy to be here and so thankful that you brought us out to meet all of these amazing people and get all of these great episodes that our audience will be able to hear and hopefully motivate them to do great things as well.
We're kind of riding on an emotional high here right now because we're recording this episode actually at the end of the forum when all of the speakers have come and done their things and have stepped off stage before we even really get to celebrate the magic that you created here. So thank you so much for sitting down with us. And while we're riding this emotional high, can you tell us just what is Sun Valley Forum? What is the goal?
So the goal of the Sun Valley Forum, which is a gathering of anywhere from 150 to 300 people, depending upon the year. So a pretty relatively intimate gathering of doers, of thought leaders, of young people to come together and share their strategies, their goals, and to find each other so that we can help to accelerate the work that we're doing. The whole reason why I founded the Sun Valley Forum was because I curated an event in 2009, I think it was, and I watched the power of not just the magic of having the right ideas on the stage, but the magic of what was happening in the hallways, over the lunch tables, the meals, and here in Sun Valley, we have this beautiful place. People love to come here. So I wanted to leverage a global network of 30 years working on climate change to bring together my global network in this beautiful place to help them go farther, faster together.
What kind of growth have you seen over the years of the Sun Valley Forum?
Sure. It's such fun. So the first year I had just founded the Sun Valley Institute for Resilience, a community place-based organization to work on building community resilience in the face of climate change. We're at the edge of the grid. We're having water battles between our farmers and municipalities. And during years of drought, we had mega fires. And so having worked on climate around the world, I moved home to Sun Valley and realized that I wanted to give back to my community and create a nonprofit here. But I also wanted to bring my global network here to help us do the work on the ground. And so the first year was 2015, and I had helped then Mayor Cory Booker to green Newark back when he was just elected mayor in 2006. And so when I hosted the first Sun Valley Forum, what I loved about his work is that he understood why resilience mattered to job creation, to justice, to air quality, water quality, that resilience and sustainability benefit so many issues, economics, equity, and the environment. And so I asked him to be our keynote speaker that very first year. And so even though it was just the first year, we had probably 200 people for his keynote and then 100 hearty souls who stuck with us for the full day. And we had global leaders, local leaders. And then, in 2019, after every year we were having it in person, we had 330 people packed filled the rims of our Arduous Performing Arts Center, our largest venue here in Sun Valley, where we could host an indoor event. And it was magical. It was ideas and inspiration, and that magic really was happening. And so back in the very beginning, we just have seen these series of magical sparks happen. And so a couple of projects that came out of the forum over the years were, one, the Leonardo DiCaprio Foundation got connected to Baker McKenzie, these lawyers who were working with the government of Fiji to help pioneer a whole new approach to rural electrification. And the support of the grant that happened there scaled up the pilot, which is now being replicated into a significant model for bringing electricity to villages without. Then another year, we had a solar company connect with the Public Lands Commissioner of the state of Washington. And she was just starting her job thinking about how best to bring resilience to the state of Washington with its public resources. And the solar company said, hey, have you thought about doing solar on your public lands? And next thing we knew, she was doing a massive RFP to bring solar to the public lands of Washington state. And so we've just heard over the years these stories that, yes, we have the onstage thought leadership and the ideas and the solutions, but then we also have that magic of connection and relationships. So I've just seen it grow from an opportunity to educate my community and support a global community of doers by bringing them together to really concrete things coming out of it. And so that's what I want to have happen more and more and more.
Yeah, and you're definitely facilitating the perfect place for it. Something we have loved about the Sun Valley Forum is just, it seems so intentional, the people, the speakers that you've brought out, and just the mix, the diversity of people, not only, in age, talking about youth and gender and race and everything, but in their fields as well. And that's amazing for the podcast because we have gotten to highlight so many different fields, and that's part of the point of the podcast. So it has just been such a great experience, and we can definitely see how intentional you are in the putting together of this forum.
Thank you.
For our listeners, if we haven't already piqued your interest with just the stories she was just telling about past years, some little highlights about what we've been able to capture with our podcast this year. We got a really awesome interview with one of the plaintiffs of Juliana versus the United States of America and the director of the documentary Youth v. Gov, which is available on Netflix right now. So if you're interested in that one, you should go watch the documentary first, and then you can even get more out of that interview. We've also spoken with a chef who has a social initiative focus. We had a guy who was talking about regenerative agriculture, the importance of blue foods, which is the ways in which any food that's coming out of the water, whether it's marine or freshwater systems, and how that can be a huge driver of solving some of these issues we're seeing with climate change. We also had Carole King on the show. So our younger audience may not quite know that name, but I know that there's a bunch of you out there who know exactly who Carole King is. And she was here talking about some of the work she's doing in the Northern Rockies in general, as well as she's on the show with an ecologist who's talking about the importance basically of not clear-cutting old-growth forests, which I thought we had pretty well nailed down by now, but apparently there's some discussion going on with the U.S. Forestry Service about that. And so there's some really cool episodes that we've been able to nab coming out of this forum.
Yeah, I'm so glad, you got it as far as the diversity of content and people, because having been working on sustainability and climate change, and I always believe there was a better way of doing this. Why are we building economic opportunity at the expense of nature when nature is what creates so much that we need? Our shelter, our food, our protection from storms and floods. And I always say nature is our best investment. So why are we destroying nature for some short-term economic benefit? And I know certain parts of Asia really learned that lesson the hard way, where they had really rapid economic growth at the expense of their air quality and water quality, which then undermined their economic productivity. And so just what are these better strategies, these better solutions? I've always believed that since the beginning of my career. And so what I wanted to do with the forum was to showcase that you can be involved in any way. If you are an architect and a designer, we had Suchi Reddy speak at the beginning of the forum about how we bring designers and architects in the beginning of our plans, whether we're city planners or whether we're a business growing our footprint. Bring them in early with their ideas to just change everything at the beginning to be better for people and for the planet. And if you're an artist or if you're a storyteller, if you're a scientist, if you're a farmer and a rancher, if you're a chef, if you're an educator, just being able to share that no matter what your skills are, what your passions are, you can be part of the solution. And so wanted to share that wide array and the systems approach to solving these challenges and how they all fit together, hopefully, as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So before we wrap up this interview, I want to ask, what does the future of this forum look like for you?
So I am so excited by the intergenerational collaboration that has been happening here. I had young people in the audience for the first few years here and there. I brought schools in, educators, and they would bring some of their students who had green groups in the schools. And then a couple of years ago, a young person reached out to me and said, could I organize the Sun Valley Youth Forum? Could I bring young people together and have their own forum alongside your forum? And then, so we did that. And then this year we decided to fully integrate young leaders into the main program and figure out how we can collaborate together. And one of the big takeaways this year was this intergenerational collaboration. And my mom is a nature educator. So when I was little, I grew up in her jerry pack on her back while she was being an educator out at a local sanctuary. And I was learning about nature from when I was 8 months old. Then I've just seen how, the young people, the empowerment, the ideas, the technology, they have so much of the solutions, right? I remember Al Gore, icon in the climate world, talking about how young people, when he was growing up, people were ignoring them to their detriment. And the young people have the vision and have the ideas. And I remember being young in the government and having why aren't we doing this, right? Asking those questions. Why can't we do solar energy a solution when we were cooperating with other countries and people were saying, oh, it's not cost effective. We need to do coal and oil. And within a year, we were cooperating on solar. Young people don't assume we can't do things. The young voices know that not only can we, but we have to because of the urgency of action. And so for me, I'm most excited about intergenerational collaboration, this core collaboration among us to accelerate the solutions. And it's like what Elizabeth Quigley, one of the students from Arizona State University, said as we were closing today, to work together to support the urgency of action by working with them to leapfrog their ability to be part of the solutions and not have to learn for 30 years of career like I have, but actually let's together share their ideas and their urgency with our knowledge of what solutions are ready, and let's go forward farther, faster together.
Awesome. I love it. So you guys are listening and hopefully are excited for all of I think just about everybody that you mentioned, we got an episode with. So if you are interested in these stories, we're going to be releasing them over the next couple of weeks. They're going to be mixed in with, all the other episodes that we're doing. If you want to learn more about Sun Valley Forum specifically, scroll down to the show notes. We're going to drop a link right there so that you guys can go straight from listening to this episode to learning more about Sun Valley Forum and this amazing magic that's happening here in Sun Valley, Idaho.
Thank you so much for joining us on the show, and we hope to see you again next year.
Thank you. I'd love to have you guys back. Thanks, Sarah and Chance.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Conservation Connection.
If you enjoyed our podcast, go ahead and subscribe to make sure you catch every episode that we post.
We'd love to hear from you. So if you want to reach out, go to our website, lastchanceendeavors.com/contact, and shoot us an email.
We love questions from our listeners, so if you heard something that you want to know more about, be sure to let us know.
If you've got a minute to spare, leaving a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts will help other conservation-minded people find the show. We'd really appreciate it.
A big thanks to the people working to protect our planet, and a big thanks to you for listening. Don't forget to tune in next week.